The news is hot, it's on the street. Stories breaking, skip a beat. Sanglikars Weekly got the juice. Truth unleashed, no excuse. Weekly, what's the scoop? News so fresh you'll jump the hoop. Stories rolling, headlines pop. Sanglikars Weekly never stops. From the markets to the skies, politics to fashion highs. Every week it's something new. We bring the world right to you. Grab your coffee, take a seat. The news parade, it's such a treat. Laughs and facts, they're hand in hand. Sanglikar show across the land. Weekly, what's the scoop? News so fresh you'll jump the hoop. Stories rolling, headlines pop. Sanglikars Weekly never stops. Sanglikars Weekly never stops. So tune in, now don't delay. Sanglikar's got the news today. Breaking stories we deliver. Sanglikars Weekly makes you shiver.
And for the fourth Saturday of July 2025. A few stray thoughts. And a few general remarks. And a few points of view. By way of a roundup of the week. All my own musings. Like, heavy rains without a traffic jam and local trains working, is a marvel in Mumbai. Mumbai rain. Heavy rain causes waterlogging in Andheri, Kurla, Shaun and more, disrupting traffic. IMD issues a yellow alert for continued showers in the city as well as its neighboring districts of Thane, Palghar and Rayagad till July 26. Like, the saddest news of the week was of Bombay High Court acquitting all 12 convicts involved in 7/11 bombing that killed 187 and injured 824 train travelers in 2006. Flawed investigation or bad judgment? Either way, it is rubbing salt on wounds of Mumbai. In a landmark verdict, the Bombay High Court has acquitted all 12 accused in the 2006 Mumbai local train blasts case, citing lack of conclusive evidence. The court stated that the prosecution utterly failed to prove the charges. The terror attack on Mumbai's Western Railway network claimed over 180 lives and left hundreds injured. 19 years later, Justices Anil Kailar and Shyam Chandak delivered the judgment, highlighting serious lapses in the investigation and prosecution's inability to establish guilt beyond doubt. SC holds the Bombay HC's judgment of acquitting all 12 accused in the 2006 Mumbai train bombings. Supreme Court holds the Bombay High Court's judgment of acquitting all 12 accused in the 2006 Mumbai train bombings. The blasts on July 11, 2006, killed over 180 people and injured hundreds, as 7 bombs exploded in Mumbai local trains within 11 minutes during evening rush hour. A bench of Justices Sundaresh and N. Koteswar Singh clarified that the High Court's verdict cannot be treated as a legal precedent. However, the SC did not stay the release of the acquitted individuals from prison. The top court was hearing a plea by the Maharashtra government challenging the acquittal. The SC noted that some of the accused are Pakistani nationals, based on the case files. In its earlier order, the Bombay HC had said the prosecution utterly failed to prove its case and questioned the credibility of recovered arms and explosives. The HC also said it could not be established what type of explosives were used in the attacks. 2006 train blasts case. The Supreme Court indicated its intention to list on July 24 a Maharashtra government appeal against a Bombay High Court judgment, acquitting all 12 convicts in the 7/11 Mumbai train blasts in 2006. Making an oral mention before Chief Justice of India B.R. Gavai, Solicitor General Tushar Mehta, for Maharashtra, urged the court to list the case at the earliest.
After the Bombay High Court acquitted all 12 accused in the 2006 Mumbai train blast, the Maharashtra government had decided to challenge the Bombay High Court's order. Chief Minister of Maharashtra Devendra Fadnavis, while describing the court's verdict as shocking, confirmed state's next move to approach the Supreme Court. Earlier on Monday, a special bench of the Bombay High Court had acquitted all 12 men who were convicted in the case in 2015 by a special court. The bench had ruled that the prosecution had utterly failed to prove the charges. The High Court had also observed that it was hard to believe the 12 accused had committed the crime. The High Court had also come down heavily on the prosecution by saying that the prosecution had failed to even bring on the record the type of bombs used in the crime.
Breaking news. Next news item, oh, it's breaking fast. Next news item, blink and it's gone.
Talking of courts, Bombay High Court deserves to be congratulated for stopping land sharks who wanted slum rehab program on Bombay University campus. Hope Supreme Court doesn't interfere with the order. Bombay High Court stays implementation of SRA project on Santa Cruz, East, land acquired for Mumbai University. Terming it as one of the most unfortunate cases, the Bombay High Court stayed the implementation of redevelopment undertaken by the Slum Rehabilitation Authority for slum dwellers encroaching land parcels in Kalina, Santa Cruz, East, that were acquired for Mumbai University. A bench of Justices Girish S. Kulkarni and Arif S. Doctor passed an order on Mumbai University's plea against the SRA project undertaken by developer Track Estates Private Limited. Supreme Court devising a format of apology for granting divorce is a bit too much. All husbands know how to apologize to wife. Now a format for wife's apology? The Supreme Court is considering devising a format for public apologies in divorce cases, specifically when a marriage is dissolved due to irretrievable breakdown and one party has faced prolonged incarceration due to allegations from the other. This initiative aims to provide a form of moral restitution for the suffering endured by the spouse and their family, compensating for the physical and mental trauma caused by the litigation. While a formal template is still under development, an example of an apology that aligns with the SC's approach could be: to ex-spouse name. I offer my sincerest and unconditional apology for the pain, suffering, and hardship caused by the criminal cases filed during our marital dispute. I acknowledge the time you spent incarcerated, and the emotional distress this caused. I deeply regret the harm I have inflicted upon you. I pray for your well-being and hope for peace and healing for all of us moving forward. I don't think film Udaipur Files deserve to be banned. If the murder was brazen and ruthless, why should film be fouled? Let's face the truth.
और अभी एक ब्रेकिंग न्यूज आ रही है। राजस्थान के उदयपुर में टेलर कन्हैया लाल साहू की हत्या।
किसी जमाने में भारत को सोने की चिड़िया कहा जाता था, फिर आक्रांत लोग आए, सब लूट के ले गए, और जाते जाते उन्होंने हमारे मंदिरों को भी तोड़ दिया। अकेले औरंगजेब ने सैकड़ों मंदिर ध्वस्त किए, काशी विश्वनाथ भी उनमें से एक है।
ये कहानी नंदी की है, जो सैकड़ों वर्षों से प्रतीक्षा में बैठे हैं, अपने महादेव की प्रतीक्षा में।
ये अदालत तहखाने के अंदर एक बार पुनः सर्वेक्षण करने की अनुमति देती है।
तो आप कल ताजमहल को भी कह देंगे कि ये भी मंदिर ही था।
बनारसी मस्जिद मस्जिद है ही नहीं, वो मंदिर है।
अगर मंदिर को मस्जिद कहोगे तो विवाद तो होगा ही।
तुम इन दंगाइयों को बच्चा क्यों कह रहे हो?
ये उस वायरस के शिकार हैं जो सरहद पार से फैलाया जा रहा है।
मैंने तो वही कहा है जो उनके धर्म ग्रंथों में लिखा हुआ है।
नबी ने तो कूड़ा फेंकने वाली तक को माफ कर दिया।
चलो शिकायत आई है तुम्हारे खिलाफ।
सर हमारी जान को खतरा है, सुरक्षा मिल जाती तो।
हमने आपसे हमारी कौम के खिलाफ जहर उगलने वाले लीडरों की कुर्बानी मांगी थी।
तो की लगता है यूपी में कोई आतंकवादी घटना हो पाएगी क्या? क्योंकि पहला सरकार इंडिया दी सी ते हुण भारत दी।
गुस्ताखे नबी की एक ही सजा, सरदम से जुदा।
Like, stalling parliament at regular intervals is improper. Isn't opposition losing opportunities to make government answerable for its actions? Stalling parliament unconstitutional, said Justice Narayana Korop, a decade back. Applicable even today?
The Chief Justice of India, N.V. Ramana, on an Independence Day event, made a sharp remark on Parliament, saying that no proper debate in Parliament and that it's a sorry state of affairs.
Unfortunately, over a period of time, you know what is happening in the houses. Debates which used to take place in the houses those days is very, very wise, constructive. Now, sorry state of affairs. We see the legislations, lot of gaps, lot of ambiguity in making laws. There is no clarity in laws. We don't know what purpose the laws are meaning, which is creating lot of litigation, inconvenience and loss to the government as well as inconvenience to the public.
Like Rahul Gandhi said, Naimo is shallow, a bubble. Prove it at the hustings. At the Bajadari Nai Sammelan in Delhi, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi took a sharp dig at Prime Minister Narendra Modi, dismissing him as a leader built on showmanship without real depth. He downplayed Modi's political dominance by saying the PM is not a big problem and lacks true substance. Leader of opposition says, not given time to speak. Defense Minister says will answer every question of the opposition on Pahalgam in Parliament. Leader of the opposition said, in the House, the Defense Minister is allowed to speak, their people, leaders of the ruling BJP-led NDA, are allowed to speak, but when the opposition wants to say something, they are not allowed. I am the leader of the opposition, it is my right, but I am never allowed to speak. Earlier in the day, Defense Minister Rajnath Singh assured the House that the government is fully prepared for a detailed debate on matters of national security, including the Pahalgam attack. I assure the parliamentarians that whatever discussion they want on security matters, no matter how long, we are completely ready to participate, whenever the Speaker allots time, Singh said, responding to opposition MPs questioning Prime Minister Narendra Modi's absence from the House when they want to discuss the Pahalgam terror attack. Government agrees to 16-hour discussion and debate in Lok Sabha, and 9 hours in Rajya Sabha next week, on the Pahalgam terror attack in Operation Sindoor, after Prime Minister Narendra Modi returns from an overseas visit. In the Business Advisory Committee meeting, The opposition parties wanted the PM and Defence Minister Rajnath Singh to be present during the debate. So the time is slotted for next week. PM Modi is leaving for the UK and Maldives on July 23 and is returning on July 26. A political controversy has erupted following remarks by Rahul Gandhi in Kerala, where he equated the RSS and the CPIM, creating a stir within the India bloc. During an online meeting of the alliance, CPI leader D. Raja reportedly voiced concern, stating that such comments comparing the left with the RSS should be avoided as they cause confusion and harm the bloc's unity. Rahul Gandhi's key critique was, "My biggest complaint with them is that they do not have feelings for people." Wither India bloc?
It was a united front formulated to combat the Modi juggernaut. India bloc that managed to make a significant dent in the 2024 Lok Sabha polls is now in tatters. Once a group of over 20 parties, now the opposition bloc stands divided. In a fresh rumbling, Rahul Gandhi has locked horns with ally CPM. The leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha ruffled feathers in the left by putting RSS and CPM in the same bracket and terming them ideological enemies.
I fight the RSS ideologically. I fight the CPM ideologically. And I fight them in the realm of speech. But my biggest complaint with them, is that they do not have feelings for people.
The Rahul versus left comes after another India bloc constituent, AAP, walked out of the anti-Modi coalition. AAP, which has a running feud with Congress in Delhi and Punjab, termed the India bloc an arrangement till last Lok Sabha polls. The BJP has been mocking the opposition bloc as a ragtag outfit bound only by fear of Narendra Modi. Allies like Akhilesh Yadav, Sharad Pawar and Uddhav Thackeray have been seeking Mamta as face of India bloc and not Rahul. The big question, is India bloc still relevant? And can it still gather momentum against NDA?
Prime Minister Narendra Modi completed 4,078 days in office, surpassing former Prime Minister late Indira Gandhi's record of 4,077 consecutive days as Prime Minister of the country from January 24, 1966, to March 24, 1977. This means a single and uninterrupted tenure as the Prime Minister of India. With this milestone, PM Modi becomes the second longest consecutively serving Prime Minister in India's history, behind only the country's first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru. Like, SIR exercise in Bihar can't be faulted for excluding 18 lakh dead voters and 7 lakh double names.
99.8% Bihar electors have been covered so far in the SIR exercise in Bihar. Forms of 7.23 crore electors have been received, digitized. The names of all these electors will be included in the draft electoral roll.
And TMC MP Sanglikar Ghosh's argument that exclusionary exercise is bad is illogical. Should ECI include dead and non-existent voters?
Like, Shashi Tharoor said nation comes first before party. He also criticized emergency. बात कुछ हजम नहीं हुई, said congressman. Is Shashi veering towards BJP?
Now, big statement coming in from Congress MP Shashi Tharoor. He said that national security must come before party politics, also stressing that the nation comes first above everything. Now, speaking at an event in Kochi, Shashi Tharoor was responding to a student's question in this regard about his relationship with the Congress party leadership. Tharoor said, and I quote, that while party loyalty is important, cooperating with other parties is sometimes necessary in the larger national interest. He also explained that in a democracy, different parties may have different views, but their shared goal should be to build a better and safer India. Tharoor also stressed that when the country is facing serious challenges, political differences should be put aside. And also quoting former Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, he said, "Who lives if India dies?" And adding, he said that India must come always first above everything else.
Like, a school building collapsed in Rajasthan killing 7 children. Too bad. Make government officials accountable. Even neglected, BJP stalwart, Vasundhara Raje Scindia slammed the government. Good. Rift helps. 7 children were killed and 34 injured after a government school building collapsed in Rajasthan's Jhalawar district on Friday, July 25. Jhalawar Superintendent of Police Amit Kumar Budania and the district collector rushed to the site following the incident.
Dhankar, Vice President, resigned citing ill health. Bad health? ये बात भी हजम नहीं हुई, said opposition.
Dhankar resigns. Vice President of India Jagdeep Dhankar has tendered his resignation to President Draupadi Murmu. In his resignation letter, he said that he was stepping down to prioritize his health. Dhankar, 74, expressed his gratitude to Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Council of Ministers. Prime Minister's cooperation and support have been invaluable, and I have learned much during my time in office, he said. Dhankar, who was also chairman of Rajya Sabha, noted that it was a privilege to witness and partake in India's remarkable economic progress and unprecedented exponential development during this significant period. Dhankar was elected to the second highest constitutional office in India in August 2022. He was the opposition secured 528 votes out of the 710 valid votes in the 16th vice presidential election. He defeated Margaret Alva, the opposition candidate, who secured 182 votes. Dhankar served governor of West Bengal between 2019 and 2022, before assuming office as the vice president. Justice Verma impeachment, 145 MPs across party lines file motion over cash scandal.
In a rare show of unity, 145 members of parliament, cutting across party lines, have submitted a motion in the Lok Sabha to initiate impeachment proceedings against former Delhi High Court Judge, Justice Yashwant Verma. The motion comes in the wake of serious allegations tied to unexplained cash found at his official residence. The controversy dates back to 14th March, when a fire broke out at Justice Verma's government bungalow. In the aftermath, authorities reportedly discovered wads of cash hidden within the premises. A panel set up by the Supreme Court found the allegations credible, escalating public and political scrutiny. Under the Judges Inquiry Act 1968, at least 100 Lok Sabha MPs or 50 Rajya Sabha MPs must sign such a motion for it to be considered. In this case, 145 MPs signed the resolution, more than required, signaling the gravity of the situation.
Uddhav Thackeray, Sharad Pawar praised Devendra Fadnavis. Maharashtra CM's not enemies reply. Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis said that NCP President Sharad Pawar and Shiv Sena UBT head Uddhav Thackeray were his ideological opponents and not enemies, as he thanked them for praising him. Governor C.P. Radhakrishnan released the coffee table book titled Maharashtra Nayak on Fadnavis at Raj Bhavan to mark the CM's 55th birthday. Speaking on the remarks made by Uddhav Thackeray and Sharad Pawar, Fadnavis said he was thankful to them for their effusive praise. In the book, Pawar, 84, has written that when he sees Fadnavis, it reminds him of the time when he himself became Maharashtra's chief minister for the first time in 1978. Notably, Sharad Pawar became the chief minister of Maharashtra at the age of 38. In a lighter vein, the former union minister likened his own body structure to Fadnavis, saying the similarity of being on the heavier side was never a deterrent to work hard. How doesn't he get tired, I wonder? Meanwhile, Uddhav Thackeray described Fadnavis as a studious and loyal politician. The Shiv Sena UBT leader, a former CM, has written that Fadnavis has a chance of getting a bigger role at the national level and wished him well for the future. NCERT textbook calls Babur ruthless, Akbar brutal, Aurangzeb temple destroyer.
The new NCERT social science textbook for class 8 has portrayed the Mughals as flagged brutality of Mughal rulers including Babur, Akbar and Aurangzeb as intellectuals who plundered the Indian population. The book, titled Exploring Society, India and Beyond, highlights the period of the Delhi Sultanate, Mughals, Marathas and the colonial era. Now the book includes references from the Babur Nama, Babur's autobiography. And the book describes Babur as a ruthless conqueror, slaughtering populations, enslaving women and children, and taking pride in erecting towers of skulls in the cities that he plundered. There is a mention about Akbar's reign as a blend of brutality and tolerance. Aurangzeb is described as someone who destroyed temples and gurudwaras. The book also includes a portion on jizya, the tax levied on non-Muslims, calling it a source of public humiliation and an incentive for conversion to Islam. The Sikh gurus also received substantial space, with their resistance to Mughal oppression highlighted, especially under Aurangzeb.
Trump ended wars. White House repeats India-Pak ceasefire claim. The White House credited President Donald Trump for resolving India-Pakistan conflict, with Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt touting his foreign policy as aggressive, results-driven, and underappreciated. Leavitt's comments come days after the U.S. president's repeated remark that he mediated the ceasefire between the two nuclear-armed countries by using the trade bogey.
Yesterday, as you all know, we celebrated 6 months of the Trump administration. It's been a pleasure to work with all of you day in and day out here at the White House. 6 months, the most transparent administration in history, if I may add. And I know the president just wanted me to highlight his accomplishments over the past 6 months. As you all remember, because you all covered it on the campaign trail, the president really promised the American people many things, but at the top of that list was to defeat the Biden inflation crisis and to secure our border and our homeland. And I think you've all seen in 6 months' time, the president has delivered on those two core campaign promises. Inflation is now running at a 2.1% annual rate. You look at our southern border, look at the numbers. Just last month, 0 illegal aliens were released into our country. And then look at what the president has done on the world stage. He has ended wars like India and Pakistan. He continues to work aggressively to end the war in Russia and Ukraine. He completely obliterated Iran's nuclear sites. He has continued to hopefully negotiate a ceasefire between Israel and Gaza to end that conflict and release all of the hostages. We've seen many of the hostages released as a result of this president's efforts. And this president is working around the clock every day to deliver on the promises he made. You also look at some of the cultural issues, to abolish DEI from our federal government and our military, to effectively end men and women's sports, which is a huge common sense policy that the American people support. And then if you look at the president's strong executive orders that have effectively ended the chemical castration of young children in our country. Just today, Washington, D.C. Children's Hospital in this city has announced they are no longer going to be prescribing puberty blockers to minors. This is a huge win for America and our children. There's certainly more work to do, and the president is doing it right now, and he will continue for the next 3.5 years, but certainly we've accomplished so much in just 6 months, and I'm happy to take some questions.
He went to Egypt and saw the pyramids. I built bigger things in Manhattan, folks. No one knows the origin of these stones. I have some of these in Mar-a-Lago. He jokes, it's funny but it's not a joke. He only yaps a lot and drinks Coke. He went to the Louvre in France. Walls were dripping with gold, pure glance. It is modest but clean, he said. I have the same painting above my bed. It's funny, but it's not a joke. He only yaps a lot and drinks Coke.
Crackdown on indecent content. Government bans over 20 OTT platforms.
The Indian Ministry of Information and Broadcasting has banned multiple apps and OTT platforms for allegedly hosting obscene, vulgar and pornographic content. Well, over 20 apps and websites have been reportedly banned in India. The list includes Alt Balaji, Ulu, Big Shots app and Desi Flicks among others. Now, as per reports, the ban is part of an ongoing effort to regulate digital platforms in the country. The apps were reportedly listed as being in violation of various laws, including indecent representation of women. The action is aimed at curbing the circulation of objectionable material, particularly to minors. However, this isn't the first time that Indian OTT platforms have come under the scanner. In April this year, the Supreme Court issued notices to several leading OTT giants and sought response about the streaming of sexually explicit content. In May, OTT platform Hulu came under the scanner after a clip from its web series House Arrest went viral for alleged vulgar content.
Mass murders in Dharmasthala? CIT to probe sexual abuse, disappearances and deaths.
After days of relentless focus on the alleged Dharmasthala mass murders, the Karnataka government is finally taking strong action. Chief Minister Siddaramaiah has now ordered a full-fledged SIT probe into charges of disappearances, sexual abuse and murders. A special investigation team or SIT headed by top cop P. Mohanty will investigate the claims and ghastly crimes in and around the holy town of Dharmasthala. Long ignored patterns of missing women, unnatural deaths, murders and sexual assaults in Dharmasthala spanning more than 2 decades will now be probed. The investigation began gaining traction after a whistleblower came forward with horrifying claims. He alleged that corpses of several women and girls, including school students, were found naked, bearing visible signs of violence and possible sexual assault. The whistleblower says he was threatened, warned that he too would be cut into pieces if he spoke out. From ignored complaints to buried bones and silenced testimonies, every unanswered question now demands attention as the SIT steps in. Across nation, there is one hope: justice, truth and dignity for the daughters who were possibly failed.
Karnataka High Court quashed the money laundering proceedings against Parvathy Siddaramaiah, wife of Karnataka Chief Minister in the Mutta scam case. Enforcement Directorates appealed to the Supreme Court challenging the Karnataka High Court's order that quashed money laundering proceedings. SC rebuked the Enforcement Directorate and questioned the motives behind the ED's actions, remarking, "Don't force us to say something harsh, let political battles be fought amongst the electorate. Why are you being used for it? Supreme Court can quash a case, it's fine, but why should Supreme Court pass such comments on a constitutional body like ED?" Supreme Court issues notice to Union and all states on President's reference on timelines for bill's assent.
The Supreme Court today issued notice to the Union of India and all states on a presidential reference seeking its opinion on whether timelines can be imposed for a governor and the president to act on bills passed by the state legislatures under Articles 200 and 201 of the Constitution. A constitution bench comprising Chief Justice of India B.R. Gavai, Justice Surya Kant, Justice Vikram Nath, Justice P.S. Narasimha and Justice Atul S. Chandorkar will examine whether the Supreme Court can prescribe such timelines, the roles of Article 142 in this context and the larger questions concerning federalism and constitutional boundaries. At the outset, the CJI noted that the court would need the assistance of the Attorney General and directed notice to be issued to the Union and all states. We propose to start somewhere in mid-August, he said. The presidential reference under Article 143(1) of the Constitution arises against the backdrop of increasing constitutional friction between state governments and governors over prolonged delays in granting assent to state legislations. The absence of fixed timelines and discretionary conduct of constitutional authorities have led to legal uncertainty, prompting states to seek judicial clarity on the roles and limits of both governors and the President under Articles 200 and 201 of the Constitution.
India-Maldives ties reset.
A joyous reception. An effusive handshake. and plenty of warm hugs. These gestures by President Moizu could not be more indicative of a reset of India-Maldives ties. And Prime Minister Modi was quick to affirm that India-Maldives relationship will reach new heights. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is the first head of the government to be hosted by President Mohammad Moizu. This time Modi is the guest of honor for Maldives' 60th Independence Day. India is expected to extend a line of credit worth $565 million to Maldives, and talks on a free trade agreement are expected to formally begin. India is also expected to launch several India-assisted development projects. Both the optics and the deliverables on the agenda are a marked contrast from the frosty picture that was presented about 18 months ago. Ridden by debt from China, the island nation had strained ties with India after Maldives ministers posted objectionable comments about the Indian Prime Minister. PM Modi responded with serene pictures from Lakshadweep, bringing down Maldives' tourism sector to an all-time low. Since then, Malé has been on a corrective track, and the gestures by President Moizu now affirm to it.
Historic India-UK Free Trade Pact signed, Indian farmers to benefit most. India and the UK signed the Free Trade Agreement, a move likely to double bilateral trade to $120 billion by 2030. Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal and British Trade Minister Jonathan Reynolds inked the pact in the presence of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his UK counterpart Keir Starmer.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in the UK for a 2-day visit, and it's not just about diplomacy. It's about a historic free trade agreement, one that's been in the works for nearly 3 years and has finally been signed today on 24th July. At its core, the Free Trade Agreement or FTA aims to boost business between the two countries by reducing or eliminating taxes and tariffs on a wide range of products and services. It's India's first major trade deal with a developed nation in over a decade. For the UK, it's been called the most significant deal since Brexit. Now, what's in it for India? Nearly 99% of Indian exports will now enjoy zero duty access to the UK market. That's huge, especially for sectors like textiles, leather, footwear, toys, marine products, and gems and jewelry, which currently face tariffs between 4 and 16%. Engineering goods, auto components, electric and hybrid vehicles, and sport equipment are also big winners. And it's not just about goods. Indian chefs, yoga instructors, musicians, and other professionals will now get temporary access to work in the UK under a short-term entry scheme. There's also a major relief for Indian workers and companies in the UK. A new social security exemption will allow Indian professionals to skip UK social security contributions for up to 3 years, saving around 4,000 crore rupees each year. Now, what's in it for the UK? The UK gets reduced tariffs on several of its key exports to India. This includes Scotch, whiskey, and gin. Duties will drop from 150% to 75% immediately and further down to 40% over 10 years. British cars. Tariffs currently above 100% will fall to just 10% under a special quota system. Cosmetics, chocolates, biscuits, medical devices, salmon and machinery will also see reduced duties. British companies will also be allowed to bid for certain large-scale Indian government projects, especially in transport, healthcare and energy. Not everything made the cut. India has protected its agricultural sector by keeping items like apples, dairy and cheese out of the deal. Also, some benefits like tariff reductions on alcohol and automobiles will roll out over time, not immediately. Why does this free trade deal matter? Well, trade between the two countries stood at 42.6 billion euros in 2024. With this FTA in place, that number is expected to go up by another 25.5 billion euros every year by 2040.
What started as a quirky designer toy from Asia has now become a full-blown pop culture obsession. From high-end shelves to street-side stalls, Labubu has quietly, and cutely, crept into the city's toy scene, with local stores scrambling to keep up with the demand.
These little creatures are taking over social media, fashion streets, and collector communities worldwide. Meet Labubu, the ugly cute plush dolls that have become a global sensation. Born from a children's book series, Labubu dolls were transformed by Chinese retailer Pop Mart into collectible plush toys and bag charms. They have rapidly become a global phenomenon, driving significant economic growth for the company and the broader designer toy industry. The doll's popularity exploded with celebrity endorsements. When global stars like Lisa from Blackpink, Dua Lipa and Rihanna showcased their Labubus, the internet went wild. From Instagram to TikTok, Labubu mentions soared to nearly 900,000 this year alone, sparking a worldwide frenzy. Their secret? The thrill of surprise, sold in blind boxes that keeps fans guessing which character they will get. More than toys, Labubus have become coveted fashion statements. Collaborations with luxury brands and their quirky charm have turned these dolls into must-have accessories, a badge of style and exclusivity. The Labubu craze fuels a vibrant community of collectors and creators. From custom outfits to resale markets, where rare dolls fetch thousands of dollars, Labubu has built a booming economy.
ICICI Bank CEO Chanda Kochar held guilty of Rs 64 crore bribe in loan sanction to Videocon.
In fact, in the ICICI Videocon loan fraud case, the appellate tribunal under the Smugglers and Foreign Exchange Manipulation Act has found former ICICI Bank CEO Chanda Kochar guilty. Kochar has been found guilty of accepting 64 crore bribe in return for sanctioning a 300 crore rupee loan to the Videocon group in 2009. The clean sheet that Chanda Kochar received from the PMLA adjudicating authority has been reversed. The ED, which attached Kochar's assets worth 78 crores rupees, has been upheld. Chanda Kochar's clear conflict of interest has been underscored. The tribunal noted that immediately after disbursement of the loan, 64 crore rupees was diverted to New Power Renewables, where Deepak Kochar, the husband of Chanda Kochar, was managing the company.
SBI classifies Reliance Communications promoter, Anil Ambani, as fraud. SBI to lodge complaint with CBI.
The State Bank of India has classified Reliance Communications along with promoter Director Anil Ambani as fraud and is also in the process of lodging a complaint with the CBI. This was informed in the Parliament on Monday. Minister of State for Finance Pankaj Chaudhary said in a written reply in the Lok Sabha that the entities were classified as a fraud on June 13, 2025 in accordance with the RBI's Master Directions on Fraud Risk Management and Bank's board-approved policy on classification, reporting and management of frauds. On June 24th, the bank reported classification of fraud to the RBI and is also in the process of lodging a complaint with the CBI.
Warren Buffett retires. After 60 years, the Oracle of Omaha steps down as Berkshire CEO. Greg Abel will take over by year-end. Buffett isn't selling any stock. His $168 billion fortune is set for donation. He built Berkshire into a $1 trillion empire with 200-plus companies, from Geico to Dairy Queen. Buffett lived in the same $31,500 house for decades. True simplicity and genius. Will Greg Abel carry the legacy forward? Is this the end of an era or the start of a new chapter?
ED has filed a case under the FEMA against Myntra for allegedly violating India's FDI policy to the tune of 1,654 Indian rupees crore. The Enforcement Directorate has filed a case under the Foreign Exchange Management Act, FEMA, against fashion e-commerce major Myntra for allegedly violating India's FDI policy to the tune of 1,654 Indian rupees crore. The investigation focuses on suspected breaches of foreign investment rules, involving complex transactions and ownership structures. The move puts fresh regulatory heat on the e-commerce sector and its compliance with Indian laws. The Enforcement Directorate had raided Reliance Anil Dhirubhai Ambani Group, Raga. The Enforcement Directorate has launched a massive operation, raiding over 35 premises connected to the Reliance Anil Dhirubhai Ambani Group, Raga. The action, involving 50 companies and more than 25 individuals, is linked to a probe into an alleged 3,000 rupees crore loan diversion from Yes Bank between 2017 and 2019. According to investigators, Yes Bank promoters allegedly received funds in their own entities before loans were cleared for Raga firms, triggering bribery concerns. The total fraud in this case is estimated at around 17,000 rupees crores. While the residence of Anil Ambani was not searched, top executives including Amitabh Jhunjhunwala are under scrutiny. The probe also focuses on a significant spike in corporate loans at Reliance Home Finance and is based on inputs from multiple agencies like the CBI and SEBI. V.S. Achuthanandan, former Kerala CM and icon of communist movement, passes away.
Former Kerala Chief Minister and CPIM stalwart V.S. Achuthanandan has passed away at the age of 101. The veteran leader breathed his last on Monday at a hospital in Thiruvananthapuram, where he had been on life support for nearly a month following a cardiac arrest. V.S. Achuthanandan, widely known as Comrade V.S., was one of the most influential figures in Kerala's political history. His political journey began in 1938 when he joined the State Congress and later, after the split in the Communist Party, became a founding member of the CPIM in 1964. During his early years, Achuthanandan emerged as a prominent trade unionist, organizing agricultural and industrial workers across Kerala. He played active roles in both the All India Trade Union Congress (AITUC) and later the Centre of Indian Trade Unions (CITU). In 2016, VS was appointed as the chairman of the Administrative Reforms Commission, a role he served in until 2021. A stroke in 2019 marked the end of his public life, and he had been in declining health ever since. After a month on life support, the 101-year-old leader was declared dead, ending a public career that spanned over 75 years.
Saudi Arabia's Prince Al Walid bin Khalid Al Saud, known as the Sleeping Prince after spending 20 years in a coma following a devastating car crash in London, died at the age of 36. Al Walid, the eldest son of Prince Khalid bin Talal Al Saud, was 15 years old when he was involved in a high-speed accident in 2005 while studying at a military college in the UK. The crash caused a brain hemorrhage and internal bleeding, leaving him in a deep coma from which he never recovered.
Have you ever imagined a prince who never woke up? A real-life sleeping prince. On July 19, 2025, Prince Al Walid bin Khalid bin Talal passed away after spending 21 years in a coma. He was only 36. Born into the House of Saud, Prince Al Walid was more than just a royal. He was a young man with dreams, charisma, and promise. But everything changed in 2005. At just 16 years old, a devastating car crash left him in a coma. And there he remained for the rest of his life. In Saudi Arabia and across the Arab world, he became known as the Sleeping Prince, a living symbol of suspended hope. His father, Prince Khalid, once said, "Only God decides life and death. We will never give up on our son." And they never did. His mother, Princess Al-Jazi, prayed every single day. His siblings, Prince Saud, Prince Mohammed, and his sisters stayed by his side for over 21 years. Through birthdays, Ramadan nights, and quiet mornings where he never stirred. For many, Prince Al Walid became a spiritual figure mothers saw in him their own sons. A generation saw a lesson in patience, love, and unwavering faith. He was the grandson of Prince Talal bin Abdulaziz, great-grandson of King Abdulaziz, the founder of modern Saudi Arabia. He loved horses and fast cars and dreamed of a career in public service. That dream now rests in peace.
Hulk Hogan, who helped turn pro wrestling into billion-dollar spectacle, dies at 71.
The professional wrestling and entertainment star Hulk Hogan has died in the US. Just information coming from WWE in the last little while confirming that news, and news also about some of the details. We're also hearing that medics were dispatched to the 71-year-old WWE's legend's home earlier today, with operators stating that it was regarding, quote, a cardiac arrest. Now, Hulk Hogan transformed professional wrestling into family entertainment. Before him, of course, wrestling was pretty much a fairly narrow audience. Hulk's theatrics, though, in the ring was absolutely magnetic for children, for parents, and it supercharged the sport. He then created the NWO in 1996, the New World Order, and became Hollywood Hulk Hogan, and that propelled him in terms of professional wrestling.
Part 2 follows.